Welcome back to Real Training Camp. LA Lakers here at the Toyota Sports Center here in Los Angeles. Actually, El Segundo, California. Mark Fine, Norm Nixon, and we're now joined by Brian Shaw. You huffing and puffing a little bit? You're out there working out with the guys.
A little bit. 44 catches up to you quick.
What do you think? We talked about the fact that obviously Norm was joking about for the veterans. It's tough to get out here in the first early days. Nobody loves this part of training camp, but you guys got to go through even the smallest fundamentals for these guys, get them ready for the season.
Exactly. You know, and it's 15 years starting for Kobe and Derek Fisher, and they've gone over these fundamental things that we're doing on a daily basis throughout their 15-year career, you know, when they've been here. So something that we do, just the most basic things, because it's a lost art, just footwork and being able to feed the post and the proper passing techniques and things like that.
Now, out of all the new rookies, now which guy has been the most impressive right now between Ebanks' character and the guys you've seen?
Well, I think both of them have been impressive in different ways. You know, character has been a beast on the boards. He goes after everything, and his body, you know, is in play. So he puts that weight on guys. He knows how to use it. He knows how to get his shot off, but he's relentless after the boards. Devin Ebanks, you know, gives us a different. Gives us different ability in terms of he can get out, really run the break. He's a good defender. He knows how to use his length, and he's shown some touch, being able to post up and hit a little turnaround, you know, 15-foot shot as well.
I've got to ask you about the point guard too, and picking up a guy like Blake, and how much have you already talked to him, and how much of an addition you think he's going to be for this team?
Well, I think he's going to be great for this team. He's a guy that, you know, really can pass the ball, looks to get the ball ahead, doesn't make a lot of mistakes out there on the floor, and I think he kind of sealed his fate with us when he was with the Clippers last year. Towards the end of the season, he had a big triple-double against us when they defeated us, and so he's been a thorn in our side for a long time, and now it's nice to have him on our side.
Well, we were talking about Phil too, and Phil has made you the heir apparent to this job. They talk about it all the time. What do you think about that? I know you don't want to talk about it too much, but what do you think about that?
Well, I don't really think about it. You know, I'm fortunate to come to work and be able to learn from somebody that has so much experience and has had so much success. So I'm just trying to be a sponge and soak up as much as possible and, you know, let everything else kind of play itself out. You know, I'm in a great position, but I want to be, right now I'm an assistant coach, and I want to be the best assistant coach that I can be.
Yeah, they asked me earlier, why did I think you'd be a good coach? I said it had something to do with you playing point. You had to understand everything.
Well, definitely. Coming from a past point guard, you know that, you know, we're an extension of the coach out there on the floor, and you got to know where everybody else is there out there. And so, you know, your entire career that you play point guard, you're basically a coach out there on the floor.
Well, whether it's going to be with this team or with another team, you ultimately, let's say, wind up as a head coach. Talk about, you said you learned so much from Phil Jackson. Aside from the fundamentals, you know, and the X's and O's, what other, give us one or two things that he's taught you about how to run a team and be a leader.
Well, one of the things, and not everybody's afforded this ability, or, you know, is able to do this, but his patience, you know, for one thing. He's at an even keel all the time, never too high, never too low, and that translates to the team. So in situations, in critical points of the game, you don't see him shaking and nervous when he's, you know, when it looks like we're in a bad situation. You know, he's calm. He says, this is what we're going to do, and the guys feel that confidence, and they go out there and put that out there on the floor. I think also the fact that guys have been around the game for a long time, so when it comes to the X's and O's, everybody's pretty much the same when it comes to that. But I think what he's done is been able to blend different personalities and egos and make them work together. And so, you know, that's one thing, just being able to manage guys off the court and the things that they bring on the court, and make them understand that once they're between these lines, we don't worry about anything else out there. We're all together on this court.
Good.
What the stuff going on the East Coast? How I mean, we got to ask you about that, because I keep saying, I've been given the same line to everybody. This has got to be the quietest beginning to a season for a back-to-back defending champ in the history of sports. Forget just basketball, and any sport. For a team that's this good, has made these kinds of additions. Have the guys been talking about it at all? You get a kick out of that?
You know, no, they haven't really been talking about it at all, and I think it's a great position for us to be in terms of let them get all the attention right now. You know, we're going to obviously start the season most likely without Andrew Bynum. You know, Kobe's coming off of knee surgery. You know, so we have some guys that'll be out, so we kind of want to, you know, kind of slowly get ourselves into a rhythm this season. And what the additions that those teams made on the East Coast, it piqued the interest of everybody, you know, all NBA fans around the world now. So everybody's going to be honing in on what they're doing over there, and we're going to be quietly doing our business over here on the West Coast.
Coach, appreciate you taking the time. We're going to let him get back to it. You know, Norm called him over.
Yeah,
he came
that's
right over here.
Man. I want to say, look,
best of luck.
Congratulations. Good luck on this three-peat, and hopefully next year when we sit here, you'll be the head man.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, we're going to get
Brian.
back to showing you some practice action now. Let Coach Shaw get back out on the court. Appreciate him taking the time and stopping by. And real training camp, LA Lakers. And this is, look, when you tune in, this is the kind of things you're going to see. We're going to have an opportunity to talk with different individuals. And we were talking about Brian. He was at the basket working on free throws with some guys right next to us. And Norm called him over. He was nice enough to chat with us for a little while. And you know, we should point out, Phil said yesterday during a press conference that he really, you know, everybody's kind of assuming that Brian's going to be the heir apparent, but he was careful to say he's very happy about all of his coaches, and they all bring talents, and a number of them have potential futures as head coaches in this league.
Well,
and that ultimately it's the front offices. I think his point was that's not going to be my choice. It's the front office's choice, ultimately. Yeah. Take a look at coaching staff as another drill goes on here. At the
when you look at his staff, Jim Clemens has been with him longer than anybody.
Yep.
Jim did have an opportunity to coach at Dallas, even though it was brief. But he's a guy that understands the system, understands Phil's philosophy as good or better than anybody else that's on his staff. So it will be Dr. Buster's decision along with Mr. Kupchak. But I'm hopeful it'll be Brian. I like Brian. I think he's done a great job with this team. He played here, and it will be just great seeing him get an opportunity to coach this team.
It's, you know, I asked him what he learned from Phil, and you hear those management skills. I think anybody who's ever been in the workforce of any kind of job knows how tough it is to be a manager. And when you talk about coaching, yes, the X's and O's is one part, but managing those personalities is obviously as much, if not more important, a part of that job.
As a former player, I think managing the players is the biggest part of that job. Because when you have guys like the Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, those guys are definitely capable of winning games. But when you mix in a Ron Artest and a Dennis Rodman, guys with those type of personalities, how do you get all these guys to buy into the team?
Yep, that concept.
The concept and playing together for the same goal, not go too crazy off the court. You know, so I think great coaches are great managers, and that is one thing that he does extremely well.
And nothing against Adrian Dantley in Denver, but we saw when you got a team with George Karl that was so used to how he managed those personalities, is very tough. And of course, he's one of the all-time greats. You take him out and try and stick somebody in for the first time right in the middle of the season as they're going into the playoffs. Very, very tough. And it wasn't necessarily an X's and O's things. It's, hey, you've got your leader, the guy who's everybody's turned to, and you take him out. And the leader for this team, of course, Phil Jackson, continues to be.
It's always personality. I played with AD. He was a very quiet player. So I can't imagine his personality changing that much as a coach. He was a guy that just got it done out on the floor, didn't talk a whole lot, didn't have a whole lot to say.
Well, you talk about being even keeled. That's what Brian Shaw said. Very important to be even keeled, not get too high and too low. Boy, there's a couple of coaches, Norm, I can think who didn't go by that same philosophy, not getting too high. Just see some clipboards getting slammed and some guys yelling and ranting and raving.
Have championships?
Phil,
does any of those guys have championships and slam those things down? Think about it.
No, very good point. Very good point. Hey, you know, Phil Jackson, let's I'll tell you what, this is a guy who is very different in the way he approaches a lot of what he does. You know, talks a lot, yes, but brings that to the team. Talks about loving each other. Talks about, you know, a different, look, they meditate together as a team. A completely different viewpoint from what is thought of historically as a professional sports coach. Pick and roll drill going on here, Norm?
Yes, exactly. And as Brian said, you know, the first thing he said when he sat with us, he said, did you notice that we do just basic fundamental stuff? Because it's a lost art form. And it's so true. When you watch a lot of these teams, fundamentally they do so many things wrong. And it's amazing. And my philosophy has always been, I thought the NBA got really young at one time. They were taking so many guys out of high school that a lot of those guys just weren't fundamentally sound. So when you watch games, the teams, as a result, were doing so many things that went just totally against fundamental basketball. You can see now they're getting away from that now. They're starting to take guys out of college again, not as many high school guys.
Pass back with that type of cut. Make that as a banana cut rather than a direct line.
He's talking about a banana cut there instead of straight line. He's talking about a guy taking an arc, I guess, to the basket instead of a straight line, right?
Exactly. Or when you're cutting off the pick. It's more rounded cut when you're coming off the pick. They're passing and cutting off of it, getting it and taking a jump shot. A very simple drill. I mean, every drill we've seen so far this morning, they've just been very basic, simple, fundamental drill. Pick and rolls, pivot foot, inside pivot, outside pivot. It's nothing that complicated.
Even before we started, very basic, dribbling the ball up and down the court. Very basic stuff.
Allow our guard to make that penetration. Penetrates, should open up like this. If he goes down, he's going to have to make the all-purpose pickup throw, or one-count pickup throw that we worked on before. He's going to look over his outside shoulder and look, then come back and make an inside pass. After you pick the ball up, look on the outside shoulder, and drop the ball off to your wing. There's a little timing action going in on that.
That's a real interesting part of this here, Norman, and folks at home, fans may be seeing that even the direction in which a player is looking before he makes a pass is something that's thought about in practice.
Pick and rolls, you have to roll toward the basketball, you're cutting off, you look to see where your big guy is once he starts rolling.
You know what I mean?
A nice delivery pass. They're looking off. We saw Sasha look from the right, the outside shoulder basically.
Looking
on
outside
the left side, you look
passing
on the
inside.
outside first, then you look on the inside.
You know what I mean? Doesn't matter, right? Which one you want. If you want. Yeah, you got it like that, yeah. Gotta go around him.
Jam.
Go tight still. You want to go tight or stay in the corner?
Look this way. Have a series of actions to go off on. It's important for us to just have this aspect. All right? How? Drew and Russ. Come on in and play post. Another post and Theo. Post. All stay post spots on both sides. All right? So one's off, two are on.
Now usually, I'm not sure, but usually when coaches break drills down this much, this is usually a part of their overall offensive scheme. Right. So you can believe in a triangle. These are the same moves that you'll see the guys make within their offense. So when these things are drills and you're drilling on them every day, when you see this situation in the game, you don't have to think about it. You're reacting. So with basketball in general, you want to take a lot of the thinking out. You want guys to be able to react. Don't think. Just play. Just react and play. Don't think about where you have to go. Think about what you're doing. Just play the game.